The Nothing headphone one is here. This is my first impression video. I just got the headphones yesterday, tested them for a couple of hours, but I've been wearing them all day. I'll also be comparing them to a mid-range headphone, the Soundcore Space One Pro, and a premium headphone, the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3. But here's the box. Let's just get this out of the way, and then we'll get the actual box here. And let's have a look at the headphones. I've already obviously unboxed them, but this is just for your entertainment. So this is what you're met with, a nice thin case. It's kind of made out of similar material to the boot of my car. So I'm sure it's quite durable. Let's unzip it and see exactly what these headphones look like. It's quite unique. And there they are. Now, my first impression was that these were stickers. It kind of has this like 2D effect, but no, that's how it actually is designed. It's kind of grown on me, but yeah, all the leaks that have come out, this is pretty much what you're getting. I got to give it to Nothing. They know how to make a unique looking product. And I was honestly not too keen on the Nothing earbuds when they first came out, and it grew on me. So look, to be honest, I don't really care what my headphones look like. I'll use some B-roll here so you can see what they look like on my head. It's a very low profile look. The build quality is very decent. I actually don't know the price of these headphones right now. I don't have a brief or any information or specs. I got these so last minute. So I'm just going off what they look like and what they sound like. So you have a pretty nice kind of metal finish here. It's got a cold touch to it. It's that same kind of see-through, aka transparent plastic that Nothing is known for. It just, I don't know, it just looks kind of interesting. It looks kind of flat there. I don't know, maybe if it was like those little circles were like protruding out, it would look a little bit more real, I guess. But anyway, you get a decent headband here. Not much cushioning on the top, but I had these on, well, I've had these on all day and I've had no issues with comfort. The ear cups are quite spacious, as you can kind of see here. They're quite deep. I have pretty massive ears. And yeah, I had them on it all day with like basically no discomfort. I wouldn't say the initial comfort is as comfortable as a pair like the Soundcore Space One. These are very like cushiony kind of ear cups. And what's actually quite unique here is that it's not really, the headphone's not angled. So let's just get this out of the way. So as you can see here, it's just like a straight on, it's like a straight on design. So you can see here the PX7S3, it kind of has this like slight angle to it. Like all headphones have a slight angle to it to kind of match the natural curvature of your ear, where the Nothing headphone, they just go straight down. But so initially it feels kind of weird on the head. But look, I had them on all day with no issues. So I don't know, the comfort, whatever they've done here with the design, it's pretty decent. The amount of adjustment is pretty nice. It does lock in place well enough. It's a little bit loose there, but when you chuck them on your head, they're gonna stay in place with no issues. But now back to the rest of the unboxing. You get your paperwork and whatnot. You get your 3.5mm auxiliary cable, a USB-C cable, and then some paperwork. That's all the unboxing there. But going back to the actual case right now, like I said, it's a pretty interesting kind of feel to the case, but it's very, very thin. Compared to, where is it? Compared to the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3 case, the Nothing headphone case is much thinner, that's probably gonna be the most important part about a case, how thin it is. You got your flap in there to store your cables and whatnot. It's a solid case. It unzips well. It doesn't zip that smooth when you close it, but it unzips kind of smoothly. The zipper's not great. It's like good enough though. But back to the headphone, another thing to mention is the clamping force is spot on. Now I do have a pretty giant head, but it's gonna be great even if you're like exercising with them, like weightlifting or doing whatever, they're gonna lock in place well and it's not too tight. I had no jaw discomfort. It's a very comfortable fit overall. Now in terms of battery life, I've got no idea what the battery life is, but I do know about the controls. So you got a whole heap of very interesting, unique buttons. So the right ear cup has this button here that's gonna be skipping tracks back and skipping tracks forward. You just kind of push it one way or the other. It's got a very nice click to it, a nice easy way to skip tracks. I did accidentally activate it a couple times as I was getting used to where the actual controls are. And you can hold down forward to fast forward your track and rewind. You just hold that button down, really nice. And this button here is gonna be your multifunction button. Press it once to play pause, hold it down to switch between noise cancelling and transparency mode, which actually has a very, it has that classic Nothing sound effect. Actually turn these headphones on as well. It has a nice switch, which I personally like. I love a nice switch to turn my headphones on instantly. I want to demonstrate here. I'll chuck the headphones on my mic, so hopefully you can hear the sound effects going between noise cancelling and transparency. So this is noise cancelling, and this is transparency. Don't know if that came across well, but it sounds really cool when you're wearing the headphones. Now the next button here is on the left. No, it's on the right hiccup as well. This is kind of like for iOS and Android, hold it down or you press it for voice assistant. And on Nothing OS, it's also a smart function and you get some other function in there as well. But right now, I actually also don't have any app support because I have no information on these headphones because I got them so late, but I'm doing what I can right now. So I don't actually know what codec the headphones use. In my testing, I could see they were using AAC on my Nothing Phone 3A Pro up here, that old bad boy. It is high-res certified, so I'm assuming you get at least LDAC, maybe even LHDC. I also can't test multi-point connection. I'm sure they've got multi-point connection to connect two devices at the same time. I think you might have to activate that in the app. But finishing off with connectivity here, you do get a USB-C port, as well as a 3.5mm auxiliary cable. So you can use the headphones, I believe, powered on or off. I need to check if you can do it powered off, but you can also use them via USB-C. And what I love about being able to use USB-C with audio is that you can actually control your media playback just like you would when using Bluetooth. So I'll just connect them up here, give you a quick demonstration. So you can see if I use the controls here. Oh, I can't believe I forgot the most interesting control here is that you actually get a volume. This is actually like a dial to control volume. So you just kind of like push it down and you swipe right to go forward and then you swipe left to go back and control your volume. It feels really nice. Can't believe I missed that. That's like the main thing. The buttons, nothing's gone all out with these buttons. They feel great. It's a nice, easy, quick way to adjust your volume up and down. You get a nice click feedback. Love that there. Back to the phone. So let's see if this works here. Yeah, so you can see there, I'm just controlling the volume and that's adjusting on the phone. It's not connected via Bluetooth, it's connected via USB-C. And you can just skip tracks nice and easily with this button here. Skipping tracks, you just go forward. Nice, easy way to skip tracks. And you can pause. Fast forward does not work. Does it? That might be a Bluetooth only option, but you can skip tracks, which is cool. Next is call quality. I haven't done any testing yet, but you kind of expect some solid call quality from Nothing. Their earbuds have some of the best call quality in any price range. So I'll leave you with some samples now compared to the Soundcore Space One Pro and Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3. All right, here's the call quality of the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3 in a quiet room. All right, here is the call quality of the Nothing Headphone 1 in a quiet room. All right, here is the call quality of the Soundcore Space One Pro in a quiet room. All right, now let's see how the microphones block out some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the call quality of the PX7S3 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here is a call quality of the Nothing Headphone 1 with some simulation crowd noise. All right, here's the Soundcore Space One Pro with some simulation crowd noise. All right, now I have some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, here is the PX7S3 with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, now let's see how the microphones block out some city noise, some construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, Soundcore Space One Pro with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation wind. All right, next is a noise cancelling test. So I test my noise cancelling just playing some plain noise, crowd noise, and music nice and loud on my speakers with a sub. So I'm getting low, middle, high, consistent, as well as inconsistent sounds. And in my test, I have 3 headphones in testing right now. I've got the Soundcore Space One Pro, the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3. That's like a premium headphone, mid-range, budgety, and I'm pretty sure the headphone 1 is going to be like a mid-range option. So in my plain noise test, crowd noise test, and music test, the Soundcore Space One Pro just blocked out more noise, followed by the Nothing Headphone 1, and then the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S3. To be honest, it's all really close. All have very solid noise cancelling. And I must say the noise cancelling on the Headphone 1 is much better than Nothing's earbuds that have on offer. So great at blocking out any kind of frequency, especially voices. They perform quite well, basically on par with the Soundcore Space One Pro. They just block out those high frequencies slightly better. But when it comes to the transparency mode, that changes around quite a bit. The Space One Pro are the worst. And I would actually have to put just the Nothing headphone in the #1 spot, which is great because I've compared the PX7S3 to the Sony XM5 and Sennheiser Momentum 4, and these have easily the best transparency mode. Honestly, I was pretty shocked because the Nothing earbuds do not have a good transparency mode. It's very average. But here the clarity is great, it's very natural. They have the least amount of occlusion as well. So when you speak yourself, your own voice sounds very natural. There's still a slight amount, still need to compare these to like the XM6 and even the AirPods Max, but it's great to see Nothing really improving on their transparency mode. But finally, let's talk about sound quality. Now this is an area where first impression was not great. Doing some more testing, I've been wearing them all day, editing videos, listening to a bunch of music. The standout with their sound here is a mid-range, which you kind of expect from Nothing. That's the exact same kind of situation with the earbuds. They have some of the best vocal experience. Vocals are clear, they're natural, they're just very well separated and just boosted very nicely. If you like your rich vocals, you're gonna love the Headphone One. They also have a nice rich bass response. It's pretty powerful. You get some nice sub bass. The mid bass is full, not bloated. It has a bit of punch to it. No complaints when it comes to bass. I do have a complaint when it comes to treble though. It's just a little bit flat. Maybe they're going for like a more natural response. So you're not gonna get any sibilance. It's not harsh whatsoever, but at least for my taste, it's a little bit lacking. So things like cymbals, crashes, hi-hats and ride work, even some vocals in higher frequencies like female vocals, and the upper mid, so things like distorted guitars and like keys and stuff like that do fall behind in the mix ever so slightly. It's actually not ever so slightly, it's quite noticeable. It's just a very smooth treble response. For my personal preference, I like a nice crisp treble response. I want some nice upper treble sparkle. I want it to be detailed, but right push to the point of not getting too harsh. Now this is just the stock tuning. Like I said, I don't have any app support right now, so I can't EQ these headphones. I'm sure you can EQ them and get them to a pretty decent level. Nothing, I'm assuming they're gonna use their advanced EQ and probably hearing test. But this is my only concern here. You still want your stock EQ to be like not too lacking in certain departments. So that's my only real complaint with the headphones right now. I do need to test out the EQ and see what I can do with that. But that's basically it right now. Overall, I'm pretty impressed. Say what you want about the design. Even the weird kind of design, like it's not angled, the comfort is still great. The transparency is top tier, at least from what I've tested. Noise canceling is solid, but I still need a bit more time to get a dedicated review out. But right now, I'm impressed in ways, not impressed in other ways.